Hey guys, before we get going, I just wanted to apologize for the echoing you will hear at times throughout this video. It is entirely my fault. I'm currently working on that to avoid this issue in future videos. So I appreciate your patience. I appreciate you tuning in and enjoy the video. Ding. Oh, see, I don't know what I'm doing, Josh. I really just have no idea.
None of us do. Welcome to the boat, brother.
I'm crashing out on my incompetence. Okay.
He's just revving up to talk about Warren Smith.
Dude, I gotta get ready, man.
No, but you did a couple videos on James Fishback, right?
I did.
He's running for governor, correct?
I think so, yeah. Let me test this real quick. I'm gonna test the screen share audio.
This footage is remarkable. These guys are very good at what they do. Time and time again, the colleges keep trying to shut them down in the most bizarre and common.
Okay, so that's working, but the problem is it's glitching so bad, like it keeps going back and forth between grid view and not grid view.
Oh, interesting. It stayed consistent on my end, but
let's see what happens when I do this again.
Local ways.
Yeah, see it. I don't know why it does that.
Yeah,
that's okay. If we have to do non-grid view, we can just go back to it. It doesn't take long to go back to. Okay. No. Anyway, so, sorry. Okay.
No, you're good.
So yeah, for Fishback, I did do a few videos on him, or a couple. I did one.
Yes.
Covering like, I don't know if I was the whole thing, but it was at least part of the CNN like segment they did on him. And then there was a segment that he did with Sophie Rain, because he debated her on Piers Morgan.
Yes.
And I didn't show that whole thing either. So there could be more context to one of those.
No, I thought both of the videos were really well done. I gave me a lot of thoughts to think about and to see and all that stuff. It's really just anyway, I thought they were very well done.
Well, I appreciate that. No, I mean, I just think there's a difference between like what happens sometimes. It's like I was debating a couple people I know. It was on, ironically, Easter Sunday, and they were talking about like they were saying about like, oh, OnlyFans is like bad for society. It's this and that and all this stuff. Yeah, and I found myself like defending like porn basically and the ability to do it. And it's just interesting because like I'm not a huge fan of that industry. Like I think there are a ton of potential safety concerns. I think you can go down rabbit holes where people are like, I don't know if addicted's the right word, but they obviously have an unhealthy relationship with it. Yeah. But I'm in these because I am defending like the legality of it, which is different necessarily than I think if it's a good or bad idea. I feel like sometimes it can come across like I'm just this like huge porn defender, and I'm just like, it just seems like this because it's who I'm talking to. If I wrote an essay about it, I would probably I would not like a porn or sex worker abolitionist. I mean, I think prostitution should be legal actually, and regulated. But I also I'm totally for talking about the dangers of it. Like, I don't necessarily think it's always a good idea. I think if somebody came across to me and they were like, do you think I should do porn? I'd be like, I mean, there's like a million risks. So generally speaking, I think you better really know what you're doing if you're going to get into it. You know? So I don't know. But it's just interesting how sometimes depending on who you're talking to, you have to defend different things when in reality your opinion could be more nuanced. But
no, that's actually exactly it. Because even as I was watching it, like obviously from my faith and even from like a neuroscience point of view, there's so many things that are problematic with that industry and with all of those things that like I just think that like I think it should be something that we deter everyone from. But again, what you were talking about, which is the legality of, are you really wanting to take away the right for people to, like, you know, that's where I think for me it comes in, is like, you know, there's a lot of things that my faith informs me to make decisions on, whether that
Yeah.
be, alcoholism or other things. And so then for me, the line is like when I'm watching the videos on James Fishback and he's like talking about even calling it like a sin tax to me is like, just I don't know that that's the route to go, because I think there's so much advocacy for it. You're starting to see this even with like non-religious organizations that are trying to ban porn and trying to get websites taken down and all of this stuff. And I think there's a lot of ways to tackle it without having to do all of the legal political things that it seems like he's doing. So anyway, I mean, like that just as I was watching it, I was like, man, I think there's 1,000 different ways to tackle this. If the end result really is, hey, we don't want this industry anymore, I think there's a lot of ways to tackle it instead of just saying, you know what I mean? Like here's a tax that's gonna essentially force you to move out of the state or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is like I feel like it's I have similar opinions about corn that I do about and not on the cob. I'm just using a substitute word.
Yes.
But I have similar opinions about that I do like polyamory. Like if you had to like just if I had to take like a survey or whatever, some kind of questionnaire, and they said like on average, would you guess a person would be better off with monogamy or being polyamorous? I'd be like, well, monogamy, like 90% of the time. But the problem is I think there may be a subset of the population that can live that way and cause literally like no harm, and it's just fine. And I feel that's kind of how I feel about like corn too, where it's like I think it should be heavily regulated. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a great idea for everybody. But the issue is I think there are some people that it might be fine for occasionally, and that's okay. It's kind of like cigarettes. Like I don't think you should smoke cigarettes. Probably that's a bad idea, like generally speaking. But if you smoke a cigarette at a party twice a year, I'm like, who cares? You know what I mean? Cigarettes are very obviously harmful, though, from everything I've heard about them. They can cause lung cancer, like they can even hurt the children around you, right? They can even hurt people that aren't even consenting to the cigarette smoking, right? Even if like you're outside and you're smoking with your child, like I don't know. I mean, maybe some kind of child protective services will come along, but the point I'm trying to make is just that. But the second part is it's a really slippery slope too. When you have things that don't cause like obvious harm to everybody, then you get into a territory of like, okay, well, who gets to decide what causes all the harm and what doesn't? Because one step, especially if you have some more malicious politicians or just people in general, first you're banning corn. And then, okay, well, now all of a sudden women can't enter the workforce, and now all of a sudden they can't vote. And I know that, like, to some people, that sound like an insanely slippery slope, but like, it's not one I'm worth risking. So I'd rather the conversations about that be sort of out of the law, with exceptions of like, I would love for the corn industry to have, and maybe this exists and I don't know about it, but I would love for them to have more, the most stringent regulations about like consent, protection, the ability to take down your videos. I think that's something that should, like in every contract, I think if you're a woman and you decide you don't want to do it anymore, there should be something in every contract that's like, okay, after your videos are posted for like a year or whatever, you can file this thing and you can get the video taken down, even if it would cost the producer money. So, yeah.
The problem is like the redistribution.
Yeah.
And I do agree that like your cigarette analogy is a great one, and it is like I just wish that advocacy was strong enough that you don't have to go to making everything legal or illegal. You know what I mean? Like that's where my thing is like I don't think everything needs regulation. I don't think everything needs laws around it, and I wish that just advocacy would get into such a effective manner that people do look at this and go, yeah, like I know that's an option, or I know that's available, but whether they're, and again, I know I use my faith, but like whether they're a Christian or non-Christian, like I believe like advocacy should just be so strong that, you know, it really shouldn't matter what. And I feel that way about a myriad of issues, especially ones that are pertaining to faith or pertaining to Christians. Like, so many times we lack in the ability to like advocate for things, and then we just go immediately to legislators and be like, you should ban this, or you should stop this legally. And it's like, man, like, how poorly are you communicating the ideas if you really believe in them? How poorly are you communicating that you now feel like the only measure is to just make it illegal? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's always the balance, right? Because you could, so first of all, I do want to correct something a little bit. I don't think that, and I realize that this is my fault for presenting it like this. I don't necessarily think cigarettes and porn are like 1-to-1. I mean, I probably don't know enough about it to have a full opinion, but my guess, just from what I know right now, would be it's probably worse than corn. Like, it's not, I don't think it's the same. I think people can watch it and like literally cause zero harm, like whatsoever. I don't know if it's like, I don't know what that balance looks like with cigarettes. But so I just wanted to make that quick clarification. And then, shit, I forgot what I was going to say. What was the last thing you were talking about? Let me jar my memory.
Oh, I was just like, your advocacy should be strong enough that even if it's not legislated.
Yes. So that, I would agree that is true, but I will say that I think there are some circumstances where that actually isn't necessarily true. So, for example, if you looked at like an extreme example, would be something like slavery, right? Where it's like, you would never say like, oh, or if your idea is strong enough, then we shouldn't have to make slavery illegal. But that's a very obvious example of like, we're making slavery illegal. Like, that can't be a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know much about the history of this, but I think it may have been that way with the civil rights era as well, where they just kind of had to have laws of like, no, you're not discriminating. Like, you're going to school together. Like, the water fountain shit is over. Like, we're not doing that.
Yep.
And so there's an argument of like, would that have happened if it hadn't been for the force of the law? It's just a balance. I think I don't know, because we do that with some stuff too, where like with hard drugs, there's some hard drugs that are just completely illegal. Yeah. And what's interesting about that too is there's not even, that's a different element, because with drugs there is an element of like choosing to do it at some point. Even like if it's, I mean, obviously there's some circumstances where things get laced and you didn't know what you got or something like that. But there is, I think people should be held culpable. Like, if you're selling to someone who you know is addicted, obviously that's like, you should get in trouble for that. But I think there is an interesting argument that like the first time somebody does a drug or whatever it is, that's on them and that's their responsibility. But we still make a ton of drugs illegal. Whereas if with something like, slavery, obviously it's more an obvious example because it's someone else causing that person the harm every single time. And there's actually some interesting, I don't know if this would be libertarian. I think it would. Arguments for having all drugs legal, no matter the harm they cause, because you would argue like, well, the government doesn't have any place to tell me what I can do with my own body. Yeah. It only has the place to stop other people's from hurting me. And I think principally I'm not 100% opposed to that idea. Obviously, that's going to cause massive deaths, which is like a problem. Yeah. But I'm not so. I used to be more sold on that idea. I'm definitely like, if I was in charge, I don't think I would make all drugs legal. But I understand like where they're coming from and the principle of it. So I know I said a lot there, but
it's one of those things that I agree. I think that eventually, when it does get to a spot, it does need regulation and legislation. I'm talking about especially these matters of like, and we've had this discussion before, but like matters of like choice or free will, which I know you don't believe in, but like, those kind of things, like that's what I see it as, is like those things. But
I believe in it functionally, like for practical speaking, to make the conversation easier. Yeah,
for sure. You know what I'm saying though? Like that's what I see it as, is like the advocacy should be strong about those choices that people make, especially now if it is being imposed upon other people, like you mentioned, both of those with slavery and civil rights, like of course. But yeah, I think we kind of are in agreement on it, even if we're coming at it from different places. I feel like there's a lot of overlap there. But yeah, all that to say, you did a really great job covering that, and your commentary on it, I felt like was really good.
No, yeah,
Just
thanks.
about like looking at some of those things, because it is, man. It's wild. Like it's a we're in a post-Trump world to where the kind of the craziest, loudest voice gets the most attention, like in everything. Like you're not gonna have moderate politicians anymore. And when I say moderate, I mean like you have to have some semblance of like listen to what this guy said. You know what I mean? Like the days of like boring politics, I feel like are it's gonna take a while to get back to it, if we ever do, just because the nature is the loudest, craziest, most brash ideas are the ones that are gonna get covered.
Well, the best people are going to be the one. Well, firstly, I wanted to say I definitely think there's some overlap on what we think of like the corn industry. I think you probably would be a little more against it than I would. That would just be my
Yeah,
suspicion.
definitely.
But I yeah, I'm definitely not like a radical like all sex work is totally fine all the time. I mean, nobody actually thinks that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, I mean, I think prostitution should be legal and regulated. It's just,
Yep.
I just do. But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, I think the thing for me is whoever the best candidate in my mind would be someone who can be kind of cater to the sense of sensationalism that people seem to like, while also being genuinely educating and nuanced. I think if you can combine those things, that's going to be the best. Because the reality is, I don't think. Okay, so this is interesting that what I'm about to say, because it actually reminds me of something else I was about to say. I feel like part of it is that people don't understand what the value of like critical thinking is because they've never been taught it. And the thing I was going to talk about before was that I think that happens a lot with people who I don't know why I thought of this, but like people in my line of work, a lot of times it's not that they, the two stereotypes are like, oh, the people in welfare are lazy and they just need to work hard. And then the other end of it is like, no, we just need to throw more money towards this and give them subsidies and everything will be fine. The reality is it's kind of both and neither.
yeah,
It's, a lot of times it comes down to these people not knowing the value of hard work, which is way different than someone who's being lazy. Because not knowing the value of hard work, it's like, well, why would you work hard if no one in your family or around you has literally ever showed you what happens when you work hard?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that kind of reminds me of with critical thinking too. It's very similar. Of like nobody in your life has ever like showed you the result of nuanced thinking and why that's better for society, communities, whatever, versus just impulsively reacting to things. Why would you value critical thinking?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And not to we don't have to get into this like too much, but I do think sometimes that happens in religious communities too, where it's like the
absolutely.
children are often raised in environments that are entirely Christian or entirely whatever religion. And they're not exposed. They're probably not exposed as often to someone like with my perspectives, or someone with even more on the like atheistic side of my perspectives. So that has, I think that should influence. So I know I'm saying a lot, but I'll make a couple concise points here. With the politics thing, I think the candidate who is able to like show that critical thinking can lead to a positive overall well-being, which is to say a positive sense of emotions.
Yeah,
That's the candidate I think that's going to do best. And because I think people miss that about like critical thinking and being logical and all that. You don't do it for the sake of it. You do it because the end goal is you want to feel the best kind of well-being, which is kind of a sense of emotion. So in a way, that critical analysis serves that. I think the candidate who is able to put that together, hopefully we can get to a point where that candidate shows up in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? And then the last point I wanted to make here was that I do think thinking that way has changed my approach to how I speak to people that I disagree with in general. Because if I just come across and say like, "You're stupid," which I never really did that anyway. Yeah. But if I come across like, "Oh, this person," there's a different thought process between like this person is this characteristic versus this person has literally never been exposed to this. So while I'm sharing my opinion, I also have to understand that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, yeah. I agree.
So, and I'm sure you encounter that too. Like, if someone's never been exposed to your religion, they just think it's kind of whack.
Well, and yeah, and like again, it goes a little bit back to the same thing that I was saying, just in a different light, which is like if you're so insecure is maybe the wrong word, but if you're so threatened by other people's ideas that like, man, I can't go to this. Sorry, my voice is like shot, but like,
You're good. Dude.
but like I can't go to this function, or I can't be a part of a public school system, or I can't because like
Yeah.
that would threaten everything. Then it's like, I think you really need to reevaluate if that's your reasoning, right? Like, I think that's like problematic. I speak as somebody who like I grew up in public schools, and then I went to obviously a Bible school, Christian private school thing. So I've seen both. And I'm
Yeah,
actually
we had like the opposite journey because I grew up in
I know.
Catholic school, K through 10.
And I'm super like excited. Like I loved my time in public school. As a matter of fact, Macy and I, my wife, like we have already talked about like, hey, what do we want to do for this? And we fully believe in the public school system just because of the diversity of thought that you do get. And it's not that we're compromising what we believe, right? Just by doing that. If anything, we're trying to prepare like our children to be able to understand that there are people who think differently, and there are people that have different opinions, and there might be people that disagree with you and where you're, like all of that stuff I feel like is really good, that with whatever belief system, when you isolate it and when you're like, I'm just going to be with the people that agree with me, you miss out on so much.
I would
Even just from a learning perspective.
I would go even further. I think it's important to teach kids and anyone really not just to be exposed, but honestly to go into it like trying to prove yourself wrong, right? Because that's what a good scientist does, and I think it's a feature of scientists that I think can be expanded into life in general. Because when a scientist goes into a lab and they're testing something and they have a hypothesis, basically what they're doing is they're trying to, in one sense, they're trying to basically just figure out what's true. But in another sense, they're just trying to poke every single hole in their theory to see why is this wrong, why is this wrong, why is this wrong. So I think that's what like when I have kids, I mean, me, I'm all about having like strong morals and all that stuff. But one of the things I'm going to tell them, and share my perspectives and all that. But one of the things I'm going to tell them is like, I want you to, whatever you think or I think, go out and see why that might be wrong and then learn from it. And if you change your mind, that's totally okay, as long as you're not harming anybody and all that kind of stuff. Like, you should intentionally at all times be looking for perspectives that you disagree with, and not just like on a surface level, but really exploring it of like, okay, I noticed this, and then, kind of go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of exposure is really important. And I agree with that. I mean, we talked about this before, and it sounds like you're saying something kind of similar, that you should never be too emotionally attached to your perspectives, opinions, morality, so much so that you can never change it. Like if you're getting offended by someone saying like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's very smart. Whatever it is, however, obviously want people to be kind. But I agree with you. I think if you're hearing that and you're getting like offended, you probably need to do some personal internal work about in regards to your attachment to your ideas. But
yeah. That's exactly it.
Yeah. All right.
Sweet.
Do you want to start watching this video?
Let's go, dude.
Okay.
I'm very interested to.
So I pre-watched this a little bit. So I know my trigger points. No, but in all seriousness, I think the reason that I'm so hard on this guy is because he again, as we talked about, I'm really big about like critical thinking and analyzing things in a deep way, all that kind of stuff. And what bothers me is like, I think he kind of sells himself as that. I don't know if he's ever said it or if it's just his vibe or what, but then when you actually listen to him, he's like not. he misses like really key things. You know what I mean? So you'll see it when we start watching this. And if you want me to pause at any point, you can tell me to pause too.
Cool.
But just
Yeah,
for a little background.
this will be fun. First
Yeah.
time we're doing something like this. This will be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. This is just a classic like you know, person on college gets shut down kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So what's probably gonna happen is I'm gonna press play, and then it's gonna do some weird shit, and then I don't know. I might just keep it on the other view, but we'll see because I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah.
But all right, ready?
This footage is remarkable. These guys are very
Sorry
good
about
at
it.
This footage is remarkable. These guys.
Oh,
are
I don't
very
have
good at what they
any
do.
audio or
Time and time
anything.
again,
You
the
can't
colleges
hear it?
Keep trying to shut them down.
Or
in
see
the
it.
most Bizarre.
I still see the watch
What?
stream.
No.
Yeah.
No. All right, hang on. Now can you see it? Or no?
No. Yeah, no, I still have just the watch stream stuff.
No, that's so terrible on so many levels. I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah. Do you want to like stop sharing your screen and then share it again? Like maybe it was just sit for too long.
Yes, I can do that. I tell you what I'm going to do though.
See.
For the stream watching, I'm going to turn off my like what I'm streaming real quick, just in case some Discord messages or something pop up when I do this.
Yeah,
Nothing bad, but you know I like to be private. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so let's try this again. Stop streaming. Now can you see it?
I just have a watch. It's a gray box with watch stream.
Bro. Still gray box?
Yep.
Why? That's so silly.
Technology, man.
Let me give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. While you're troubleshooting, I can just share a funny tech story about things. So like we have a guy on our staff who's a little bit older, and he had just set up online giving for our church, and he'd been doing like mail in and all this stuff. Hey, I set up online giving, and he goes, I have my gift, and then I wanted to add to the other fund because we have two main ways to give, right? So it's like your tithe, which is the 10%, and then anything off for that, out of that or above that goes to offering, right? So it's our missions and all this stuff. He goes, hey, so like I did my tithe, and then I wanted to add the other thing, and then he goes, now it's charging me twice. And I was like, oh no. He goes, I called my bank, I talked to the bookkeeper, nobody can help me, all this stuff. So I was like, okay, so did you do the giving through this platform? He's like, yes. So I go to his profile or whatever, go down to manage giving, look down, and there's two recurring things. So I just scrolled over to the little trash can and just hit delete. He was like, you're a genius. Oh my gosh, you helped me so much. I was going to call the bank and they told me a number to call. It was hilarious. It's like, how did you do that? It's like, it's like when you go to like fix the TV and all you do is like turn it on and back off again, or turn it off and back on again. You're a genius. We would be considered witches in like the 1600s.
Oh my god, yeah, dude, we would have, yeah.
Dude,
100%.
we get thrown into lakes in mass,
Yeah,
dude.
100%. Yeah, we'd be cut on fire. Okay, is there anything maybe you can do on your end? Like, can you right click it and see if that it says
Oh
like
yeah.
view or anything?
Let me. Oh yes, brother. Yes,
does it work?
it was me. Yes.
Bro, it always is. Just kidding.
Oh, come on. That's the wildest stray in my life I've ever caught. What
Hey,
the heck?
You
dude?
got one. I was quick with it too. All right. So you can hear,
Yeah,
you can
let's
see
do
it.
Yeah, I should be able to. Let's see if I can hear it.
This footage is remarkable.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are very good at what they do. Time and time again, the colleges keep trying to shut them down in the most bizarre and comical ways.
Just because of the signs, because they need to be only 2 feet by 3 feet and only made of materials such as cardboard, paper, or foam.
And they need to actually be held by someone. They can't be left.
They have managed to expose on camera how bad things actually are on these campuses. This is the kind of footage that you have to see to believe.
Faculty got involved.
Just to fundamentally know that it is about.
So he hovered around for a few minutes.
Do you have a permit to film? I'll get campus police over.
I'm gonna need some backup.
That gentleman asked me to call the campus police.
Because she doesn't care about the actual policy, she cares about enforcing it against us specifically.
Is it possible to say, hey, I just want to recognize the fact that a baby in the womb is alive?
And the babies are alive in their bellies.
Okay. So first of all, I know I'm changing a bunch of things here.
No, you're good.
I feel like it's really hard when you're watching these videos to know how much of it was like cut in a certain way, right?
Oh, yeah.
To look like, because I don't know anything about this campus's policy. I don't know if they would enforce it evenly to someone who's more right or more left. I truly don't know. But the issue I have with this kind of thing is like, he's kind of presenting it as if like that's just how it is. Right? They had this statement of like, they're not mad, they're just mad at us. Which is like, if you're going to say something like that, like, I don't understand why, like, if this is, let's say this is true. I don't understand why Warren couldn't have taken 30 seconds to say, here's their policy. Or, here's what they did on, like, just something, right? It's just like, it's just very this simplified type of condensing of information that yields like the worst kind of lack of critical thinking.
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, I remember from a previous video that you reacted to, he literally was like, we're just going to assume this is true. Right?
I was like, what? It would have taken 2 minutes.
I mean, it's fundamentally, like, that's kind of fundamentally the problem is that, you know, it's this thing of like, we're not going to really dive into it, but we're just going to like take it at face value. And you and I know this as well. Like, you cannot take things like this at face value. You have to be able to go, this doesn't sound right. Let me go find an article about it, or let me go read about it. Or
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's like you talked to your
be able
church
to do
members
that.
and you said that thing you said about like some bill came out and you were like, did you actually read the bill?
And people don't even understand that, like, I know transparency. I know we could always have more transparency. But you can read plain-faced readings of the bills and download them in PDF form. And, like, doesn't have to have the fluff, doesn't have to have the garbage. A lot of, like, legislator speech or writing is a little difficult. So you might have to then go and do a Google search on a word or try to simplify things. Like, of course. But again, it goes back to the thing of like, people don't want to, and this is the problem I've seen with Warren Smith, just from what I've watched with you reacting to him. He doesn't want to spend the time to actually dive into anything. It's more of just the quick content. Hey, let's go and like just cover
He figured
this
out a
thing.
formula. He figured out a formula.
Yeah.
Which is,
And like, even go for it. Sorry.
well, no, I was just going to say, what bothers me is I don't think if he wanted to have this formula, have the formula. But I'm not convinced he couldn't add like 3 more minutes onto this video.
Yeah, like even in the content stuff that I've been doing, I do it for, I've been doing it for like a year now, making my own videos and stuff. And like, yes, I can react to stuff pretty quickly. And most of my stuff is not super in depth as far as like my commentary on it. But I at least have looked at 2 or 3 different sources to be able to understand more of the full context. Very rarely, and it happens every now and then. And when I do, I come in and I go, hey, I actually got this thing wrong, or I did this thing. Where like most of my stuff is not just reacting to videos I saw. I'm like, okay, I want to see more about this, or I want to hear more about, because like on the surface, things are going to sound insane. People are looking for sound bites. We live in a world where people are consuming their news on 60-second TikTok or Instagram reel feeds. People are reading headlines and not articles. Like, that's just kind of the place we live in. And so you have to be all the more diligent to, even if you're going to use a headline or going to use, you know, a 2-minute clip or a 3-minute clip of something, you better know the context surrounding it to be able to accurately, you know, give it a call. You know what I mean?
Well, or at the very least, just go, like, I do this quite a bit, where I'll say, like, this is my first time watching this. There could be more information. I'm not an expert. Like, just...
Yeah.
Something. And it's like, I'm not saying that Warren, like, never said, like, every once in a while I've heard him say something like, if I'm wrong, let me know. But again, it's like, you couldn't take 20 seconds to say, here's why I might be wrong, or here's a theoretical good argument on the other. You know what I mean? Like I can, pretty much everything I believe, I guess I'd have to think about this more to know for sure, but off the top of my head, I think pretty much everything I believe, I can give a fairly nuanced thesis countering my own perspective. And if you can't do that, you probably don't understand the other perspective enough.
I just had that conversation with my wife literally like last night. Like, you should be able to articulate both for and against. You know what I mean? Like, and not saying that you're compromising what you believe, but like, you should. I've got maybe it'll come up a little bit later. I've got a story about something I saw even last night that was like that thing of critical thinking and what we've been seeing. I'm like, anyway,
so my real quick, I was just want to let you know, I didn't have my stream thing was still turned off, so the first part of that we missed. But what I'll go back in do is edit and just put like his video up, and then when our audio starts, it won't be it shouldn't be that big a transition.
Speaking of audio, real quick, if you could mute your microphone, because I'm getting the feedback from your audio and then the video as well. While no, just punch back in whenever you have something to say, but just while the video's playing, if that's cool.
Yeah, should be able to.
Yeah, sweet.
We'll
Thanks.
try. We'll try it and see what happens.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's fine.
Okay. We'll rewind just a little bit here.
Yeah.
Mess up with the screen share again. But okay, I'll go ahead and play it.
Cool.
Cares about enforcing it against us specifically.
Is it possible to say, hey, I just want to recognize the fact that a baby in the womb is alive?
And the babies are alive in their bellies.
No, they're not alive. That's where we
Sorry, I'm going to rewind more time because that phone call distracted me. Sorry.
It against us specifically.
Is it possible to say, hey, I just want to recognize the fact that a baby in the womb is alive?
And the babies are alive in their bellies.
No, they're not alive. That's where we disagree.
President Trump stands with Andy Barr for Senate, giving Andy Barr his complete and total.
Even that, people will literally say no.
That's the only disagreement.
Not if our foundation is just biological observation. They're definitely alive. Then why do you have to abort them?
This isn't a subjective question. This is a matter of scientific objective fact.
I would say up to 8 weeks.
Well, this is 8 weeks.
That's not.
Okay, so first of all, a couple things on that. I think he's oversimplifying that. Like, I don't think it's just a matter of scientific fact, because I think you have to have a lot of philosophical interpretation of the facts and what they mean. And the facts alone don't do anything, especially in the matter of abortion. So what I mean by that is one of the common, I'm sure you've heard, I'm not sure if you think this, but one of the common things that people will say who are pro-life is they'll say something like, well, it's a human being. That's a biological fact at 2 weeks old. And it's like, okay, but the question is, does that biological being have the same conscious experience as like a fully grown human? And that, in some sense, is that a scientific fact? Yes, but I don't think it's as simple as just like, here's this fact about biology, who's alive and who isn't, kind of thing, if that makes sense. I'm not as married to that opinion as I'm talking through it, but do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think people, especially with these things, like to give way oversimplified observations about
Yeah.
things, and they do. Like, there's a big thing, you know this from just all the debates and things that you've done. Like, it's a tactic to set the. If you can set it and then get them to agree to it, even if they're not really understanding, now you're just setting the terms of where this thing is going to go. It's a great debate tactic, from just like a speech perspective, or like, it's very strong strategy, but it doesn't actually allow for the conversation, because you're just pinning them to say yes or no, and now you're steering the conversation. So this was something that like Charlie Kirk was amazing at, where, you know, when he would do those debates with college kids and people would come up, he would listen to what somebody said, and then he would reframe the conversation so that he could then take control of how he answered back. It was a really great way, a great tactic for him to really set the terms of the way that he engaged with people. But he was like phenomenal at that, where he would just reset the terms and then be able to punch home what he believed or what he said. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there.
Yeah, I feel like that might have kind of happened when I debated Lydia Taylor Davis or Tyler Davis. I forget her name.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was so much of this when I debated her, but it was like she would say we got into this big argument about like what objective morality is, or like, do you believing it exists? And I was basically like, no, I don't think like objective morality like exists. Or here's another one too. Here's another one. People get into like this weird thing where they're like, my memory of this might be off, but I think we may have had a conversations about grape, and it was like, would grape be wrong if it didn't cause harm? And like, when people have that kind of conversation, I don't remember if I or she asked it, but it's like,
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at the
No,
nature
I know
of
you're
it.
not
I'm
laughing
because the framing is like, it's exactly what I was talking about.
Well,
Sorry,
it's
that
like,
could have come across as really insensitive.
No, I don't think it came across bad, but I understand what you're saying. I don't think that, like, again, I don't remember. I may have even asked it. I don't remember. Maybe it just came up naturally. But the thing about that conversation is, like, if you say no to that, like, would grape be wrong if it didn't cause harm? No. People picture, like, you, like, having your way with, like, a dead body or something because it didn't cause harm. And it's like, no, that still causes harm, because I don't want to live in a society who is populated by people who are of the psychological existence such that they think it's okay to have sex with dead bodies. That is a society where more harm will probably be caused. So even though no direct harm would be caused to that person, I saw your light, yeah. Even though no direct harm would be caused by that person, it's still harmful. So, but the problem is when you ask a question like that, it goes to that. But it's also just really stupid, because it's like, the answer to that question is yes, but that's how everything is. If harmful things didn't cause harm, they wouldn't be harmful.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like,
Sorry, I'm just getting my light power, but yes, no, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it's so silly.
Yep. You can keep going.
No, you're good. I'll wait on you. I mean, this can always be cut out in editing, so I'm not too worried about it.
For sure. Oh, sweet. There's one over here. Sorry. I've been able to record like 3 weeks with this thing without having to use the battery. So, granted, I'm only recording on Mondays typically, but anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, there you are.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeehaw.
I will. I'm gonna keep playing it. I'll rewind a little bit and then keep playing it.
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, I had to rewind before because there was something popped up. Or my phone rang. That's what it was.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Subjective question. This is a matter of scientific objective fact.
I would say up to 8 weeks.
Well, this is 8 weeks.
That's not alive. That is something.
No, this isn't alive because it's murdered.
No. If it was put together, I would still
No,
Still, like,
you'd say
it's
you'd.
still an
So if
ant.
this baby,
You step on ants.
And I do find that shocking. She seems to be arguing that, well, something is not alive until it exits the womb.
right?
You step on cockroaches.
I can't blame anyone for having.
Okay. First of all, she didn't say that. She didn't say that. I mean, did I miss it? Did she say? I don't think she said that. I don't think she said that they're not considered alive until they come out of the womb. She might have a more nuanced position. Maybe she thinks it's 6 months. Maybe she thinks it's 4 months. Like, I know that's like, see, those kind of things are easy to miss, right? But I don't think he said that, did he? I mean, I'll rewind to make sure, but I don't think she said that. I'm doubting myself now, but
Yeah.
let's hear it again.
Weeks.
Well, this is 8 weeks.
That's not alive. That is something.
No, this isn't alive because it's murdered.
No. If it was put together, I would still like.
No,
Still like.
you'd
yeah,
say
it's still an
So if
ant.
this baby,
You step on ants.
And I do find that shocking. She seems to be arguing that, well, something is not alive until it exits the womb.
right?
Yeah, I don't think she said that. I mean,
Now,
maybe there was
I
something
mean,
I
like
missed.
you can make the inference, like he said. I mean, he did say it seems like you can make that inference.
Sure, but
that-
it's like,
I mean,
why not explore it though, right?
well, and that's what I'm saying is like you're taking an inference and building a whole segment of the video on something that wasn't articulated. If he was like, "Hey, she views fetuses or babies inside the womb as this." I mean, she did say that, right? She said it's an ant. You step on ants all day. You step on cockroaches. Like she's trying to make that correlation. That's a better argument with something she's actually said, as opposed to running with this thing of she seems to not think that babies are in the, you know what I mean? And let's just be, oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
One more thing. You can tell from her demeanor, you can tell from the shakiness in her voice, you can tell from how she's communicating. And I'm saying this as this is the first time I'm seeing this. She doesn't really know what she's talking about.
Well, so I actually
what I'm-
have. Yeah, can I add on to that though? I think. That,
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to. Yeah, go ahead. I'll
Yeah,
let you finish.
I just
I'll
think
let
it's
you finish.
unfair. I think it's just unfair is what I'm saying is like, and that's the whole problem with these college debates from Charlie Kirk to
Steven Crowder
used to do the change, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the problem is like these guys just are fundamentally not plugged in enough to have that kind of debate, and then you just end up making them upset, and like your nervous system can't regulate when you're like just getting triggered all the time.
No, that's literally something
And
we learned
so-
in college is that your working memory goes to shit under pressure with some people. So
Yeah, and so then people go into fight or flight mode, and they like you could just tell she's not equipped for that kind of conversation. That's what I'm saying.
no, yeah, no, and that's so when I go on campus, one of my topics. This is actually quite a coincidence. It's going to be basically for this kind of person, because one of the headlines I'm going to do is going to be liberals suck at abortion arguments, and everybody's going to come up thinking I'm right wing, and then I'm going to be like, no, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you, like make sure you're making arguments that make sense. So I'm looking forward to that. But anyway,
You're the liberal Dr. Phil.
Yeah, right.
You're like, we're gonna help you figure it out.
Yeah.
We're gonna send
Yeah,
you
for
to a
sure.
ranch for 8 weeks.
Yeah, catch me outside. How about that?
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. Another thing I thought of too, though, is it doesn't, and I don't know this, and I know this can be turned into like a negative thing, but it also sounds like English might not be her first language. So when she says something like "it's not alive," she might literally mean that. It's possible, and she's fluent in English and all that, so I'm not trying to insult her. But it's also possible that, like, when she says it's not alive, she's using that as a proxy to mean, like, it's not as valuable yet as a full-grown, like, adult or something like that.
Yes.
And so, again, I would not argue in the way she's arguing. But see, even more, as this clip is presented, it's possible that there's some other parts of this clip that, she argued more for, which I don't know.
And
I
that's
guess
what
I
I'm
should
saying
look
is
into
like reaction.
Yeah.
Reaction content should be reaction to the content. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, if he wanted to say, man, she called this thing a cockroach. She called these. that's more of a genuine reaction to what you're seeing, as opposed to saying, well, it seems like she's saying that. You know what I mean? Like, you can see now I'm getting raged up about Warren Smith. Here we go.
It's so easy. It's so easy. It's like he just lays it on a platter and you just gotta yum 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 eat it up. So
yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's definitely problematic for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And I do find that shocking. She seems to be arguing that, well, something is not alive until it exits the womb.
Right.
Step on cockroaches.
I can't blame anyone for having a problem with that position.
The reason you can step on a cockroach, even if the cockroach is running from you, is because the cockroach isn't made in the image of God.
Made in the image of God, but we haven't
Image
died
bearer.
into the image. That's my point.
When do we get into the image? When we're born? Because that's not what the Bible says.
When we're able to stay alive by ourselves.
No.
Yeah.
Do you think?
would say that.
Do you think?
I would say
Do you think a 2-day-old can stay alive by itself, or do you think?
No, because it's off. I
No.
want you to keep doing that. I don't want to keep talking to you.
No, but
Because
I-
keep
but I'm
agreeing
talking
with
to you.
and you're not going to convince me of anything, and I'm not going to convince you of anything.
So she concedes, I keep agreeing with you, so therefore I can't continue to talk to you. And this is where it gets strange. On the surface, this might look like mental instability. This is what irrationality looks like.
Well, if you don't want to.
Okay, so first of all, apart from that being what it is, so I don't want to like do like a totally
you're still
Omega
muted.
rerunning video where I'm rerunning everything all the time. There was a little bit in the beginning that I missed from what she said there, I believe.
You're
but-
still muted.
Oh shit! Everybody could hear me on my thing, just not yours.
No. Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say. I feel like, first of all, that last thing was just made me laugh. But I was just gonna say there was a little bit in the beginning. I don't want to do like a complete rewind video where we're rerunning every like 5 seconds all the time. But I feel like so there might have been a little bit of that I missed from what you said in the beginning there. But I think that when she said that thing at the end where she was like, "Oh, I don't want to keep agreeing with you," I think she was like joking. I don't think it wasn't obvious to me she was just being serious. It was like sort of like if me and you were just like at a debate and you're like, I'm like, man, I keep agreeing with you. We got to stop this or something like, you know what I mean? So I wasn't sure if it was that. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that segment, but that was kind of where I was. It was like it just didn't. It didn't seem that serious.
To be honest, this is where my like pastor mind kind of comes in. This infuriates me. This infuriates me as a Christian.
Really?
Oh my gosh, because you are so. So this isn't even about the Warren Smith commentary on it. Like just this interaction, frustrates me to no end. Because even if you take the Christian position, I'm assuming this guy's a Christian. He's talking about being made in the image of God. Even if you take that position, this girl is on the verge of tears, being so frustrated by you. Like, how is that a good, solid depiction of Jesus as a Christ follower? Like, and again, this is where I'll probably get on my soapbox a little bit, but like,
no, pop off,
this kind of interaction really upsets me because you're so willing to be right and truthful, which I mean, like, I agree in God's word, and I agree that we're made in God's image, and I agree with those things. But the communication of it, what this guy and what these people are doing, and this is the problem with this kind of style of interaction in the first place, is you're so willing to be right that this lady is going to walk away frustrated, angry, questioning herself, probably feeling inadequate, feeling all of these things. And like, you're doing it in the name of I say a God, but obviously I believe like he is God. Like, you're doing it in the name of somebody that you are saying is all loving and all compassionate. So if you want to take this from like the faith perspective, like I would, like, how is this lady ever going to look at Jesus and be like, yeah, he's compassionate, yeah, he's loving, yeah, he's merciful, yeah, all of the attributes that I know about this, because of the way that you articulate it and the way that you're so willing to be right and just have people walk away. And then like the whole commentary, and I'm not saying that this is happening, but there's a lot of this stuff of like, well, if they walked away, then they're just, they're just not ready for it. It's like, dude, this stuff really infuriates me, because as a pastor, like my heart is to be with people and to help people. If she's struggling with where kind of she's at in this thing, you help guide and listen and like be empathetic and all of these things, and like you're so willing to just be right about this issue. That's what really like infuriates me just as a pastor, because if this lady ever decided to step into a church, a pastor is going to have to work overtime to rehabilitate the image of Jesus.
Yep, I know exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that. And so like as a pastor, that's my whole job, is to introduce people to Jesus, right? Like I'm not a theologian. I'm not an apologist. I do some of that stuff obviously with you, but like that's not my forte. My forte is to be with people, to sit with people, to hear them, to point them to Jesus, all of these things. And like, anyway,
No, I hear you, man, because
my heart breaks for her.
Obviously, from a completely different perspective of not believing in God, I have incredibly similar feelings in the nuances of that, though, and some of the details, because there's sometimes, and I think I may have actually watched a piece of a video Warren was doing, and again, super take this with a grain of salt, because I don't remember what it was, how much I watched all that stuff, but I feel like I do remember a section where he was like, where some college girl was talking to like Michael Knowles or something, and he was like, why is she on the verge of tears? And again, maybe he said something after and I missed that, but it's like, I find myself agreeing with the people, because when I grew up, when I was a teenager, the really kind of core of one of the cores of my beliefs that started to develop was the idea of like, if somebody says something that like you don't like or is against your perspective, you should be able to have the mental fortitude to stand up against that. Maybe should's not the right word, because I don't always like to use that language, but it would be optimal for you to have the mental fortitude to stand up against that and not break down and cry. It would. 100%. I agree with that. But the thing is, my mission when talking to people who like don't know, maybe they don't know how to debate or don't have that kind of mental strength, is not to beat them into the fucking ground. It's to say, I want to get you stronger. And you don't get people stronger by saying, haha, what a bitch, what a little pussy. Like, that's not how you get people to be better people, to build better communities in a better world. You take them and you say, hey, I notice that it seemed like that really took you aback on that thing that, you know, that other person disagreed with you with. I'm sure that wasn't a good feeling. I also, you know, I wouldn't say this exactly, but to summarize, I think it would be good for you to be in a position where you can sit there and defend these values that you really hold without breaking down, because you will feel so much better from the emotional strength you have, and you'll be able to help your community with that strength. That is way different than just going up to someone and being like, wow, look how weak you are. Wow, I can't believe like you're about to cry. It's like, you know what you don't do to people that are crying? You don't make fun of them. You ask them why they're crying. You can disagree with them and also care that they're crying. Like, it's so absurd.
And again, this is where we shift back into faith for me, especially if you're doing it representing freaking Jesus. like you're doing all of this in the name of your faith, in the name of your religious beliefs. Like, and if you believe those things about Jesus, that means, you dingbat, you have to model that. Like,
I love your Kirk Cousins cussing.
Dude, it makes me want to actually, like, for real. Like, it really upsets me, because like you're doing this in the name of somebody that like you would never see Jesus do this. And Jesus never compromised on his beliefs and on his mission and on what he was after.
That's the thing, bro. You don't have to compromise. Like, being kind to someone is not compromise. If anything, it's even more for whatever you believe in, because then you're more likely to get someone else to believe in it too. It's like, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just agree with you wholeheartedly on that from a different angle.
True, and if people actually read the teachings of Jesus and the Gospels and things like that, Jesus he would give hard teachings, and people would leave, and Jesus is like, okay, cool, let's keep Keep going.
Keep going.
Like,
Yeah.
Like he is not begging for people. And it goes back again to some of the things we talked about earlier. Like, if your beliefs are as strong as you think, then you should be secure enough if people look at that and go, yeah, I don't want any part of that. It's like, okay. I just take my cues from my rabbi, right? Jesus. I'm gonna take my cues from him. And if he's not chasing after people, and not begging people, oh no, please stay and follow, like, then people are gonna get their own decisions to make. And like, if this whole framework had been like, hey, you know, I'm really sorry that you believe that. Like, I disagree, but you know, here it is. Like I said, like you're frustrating this woman to the point that, like, you can tell. And again, I agree with you. It might be English as a second language or something like that. But like, you can tell how distraught she is emotionally just by her reaction. And like, you're doing that in the name of Jesus. Like, come on, man. That's so whack.
No.
So,
All right, so
whack, dude.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to play a little longer because we're only 2.5 minutes into this video. So I'm gonna try to go a little longer without either of us commenting, just to like, so the video is not insanely long,
For sure.
and so we can talk about other stuff. But
Yes.
all right, mute myself first.
I don't want to keep talking to you.
No, but I'm talking to you.
You're not going to convince me of anything, and I'm not going to convince you of anything.
So she concedes, I keep agreeing with you, so therefore I can't continue to talk to you. And this is where it gets strange. On the surface, this might look like mental instability. This is what irrationality looks like.
Well, if you don't want
to
it,
holding this beautiful sign of your murder baby, so
well, it's
people
not
can know it's a murder baby, and I'm a go.
This footage is hilarious. A college bureaucrat tries to shut them down because she claims their signs are outside of regulation size.
Because they need to be only 2 feet by 3 feet and only made of materials such as cardboard, paper, or foam.
You can't make it up. You have to see it to believe it.
And right now this is like the corrugated plastic.
That seems like that's a fake law.
This is targeted. She's trying to shut them down because of what they're talking about.
I'm with the Division of Student Affairs here at FSU.
Sweet.
We just wanted to make sure that you were, since you all are gathered here, aware of the policies regarding freedom of expression. We wanted to make sure that you all are aware of what's allowed or not allowed on campus. We have a limit on the size of signs.
He points out the hypocrisy of this because just across the street or the sidewalk, there's another booth selling signs that are the exact same size.
How do I get a permit to sell stuff over there?
So that is through our campus event services, and those are handled on an individual basis. There are a couple of different opportunities. Most common is Market Wednesday, where folks apply to be vendors through the institution.
I just noticed my signs are kind of the similar size.
So it's for the freedom of expression where these are being sold, and those are all of our poster board size.
So you're allowed to have the signs if you're selling them, but not if you're expressing an idea.
Well, the sign that's holding the signs.
So that's through campus event services, and they have unique policies when it comes to our vendor expectations. I can't speak to those. I'm only here to talk about the freedom of expression.
Okay.
There are other people with signs that they do not bother at all.
You guys have been breaking the law this whole time. My sign is shorter than their sign.
They're saying it's too tall?
And my sign is manned, and their sign is not manned. Their sign is made of plastic, my sign is made of plastic.
This is how it feels to be on a college campus. And make no mistake, they pick and choose based upon what you are talking about and how they feel about it.
Cannot be in this area because they're having an event.
I understand. I do this at every campus. No. Okay.
And these guys are used to this game because they've been doing this a while. They know the actual laws and regulations at this point better than any of these bureaucrats do who are actually just making this stuff up on the spot.
You can have the law enforcement come, ma'am. I know where this is going. I don't want to waste my time with this. Politely. Okay.
It's the only location right now.
Yeah, but like, as far as you deciding that you're going to be the director of organization to tell us which lawn to stand at, that's where we're kind of like, we're not going to stand specifically where you tell us.
Okay, so you're not going to move.
Yeah, we haven't elected her to run the group.
What would you guys do if we just said we're going to say where we are?
There is a process that will take letting you know, hey, if you continue to be in this area, you're going to be arrested. So
Okay. Okay.
Make no mistake, all of this is about preventing them from being able to speak or convince people.
I'm not here to change your.
Okay. All right. So that's actually, let me do this real quick.
Mind, I'm here to make you feel bad and not make sure.
I feel like we can talk better on this little bigger screen here. I think he's way over exaggerating the degree to which they are restricting freedom of speech here. All he said was move to the lawn. It's not like they said you've got to go sit in the garbage can. Like, they just said, like, can you move your sign here? And then they're like, well, she's not our boss. Like, what? like just move to the grass. Just move over there. And then again, the whole thing about Warren, just selling this as like, make no mistake about it, this is about a specific type of speech. And it's like, really? How do you know? And then the other thing I would say too is like the whole sign thing of like selling the signs over there versus the freedom of speech signs being different. I don't know about like, they did point out that like other sign that seemed to be a little different. I don't know if that meant anything, but I also just kind of took it as like, there's just different people having different policies. Like the people that run the freedom of speech policies are probably different than the people running the vendor policies. And it's like, it's not some huge, I don't know. Maybe it's something where the campus overall is like, we want this to be smaller on purpose, but it also could just be like two different departments having two different policies. Like,
well, and it's like, dude, yeah, when you go through the proper channels to do those things, like I'm sure that tent did, then yeah, you probably are able to have, you know what I mean? Like you're probably able
that's
to
a good point.
Those kind of things. Like that's what I see is like you just showed up on campus, which I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. Like,
no, I don't either.
I like just show up on campus. I get that. But it's like, you're like, oh, well, they have that. It's like, well, yeah, they went through the proper channels to like go through to like be a partner might be the wrong word, but like an official, like whatever
sure.
with the school.
It's
like
organized.
they went through the channels. Yeah, it's more organized. Right. And I'm not against disorganized kind of pop-up things or whatever.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's like you gotta be able to do. I mean, it's the same way with like, even with like some of the No Kings protests and things you see. It's like, well, like we had to get a permit for this. It's like, well, yeah, you have to do that. Well, that's taking away the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression. It's like, no, it's not. It's making sure that it's more organized, which is actually for the safety of everybody, which is actually for the clarity of everybody. Like, this isn't just, you know what I mean? Because like, we had this happen on our campus where some dude just went out and started like yelling at us that we weren't the real church and we were fake Christians, and he was like this crazy person. And like the reason that happened was because this dude just went on the campus. Nobody knew who he was. But like, we had plenty of like people come on the campus and do certain things. It wasn't like this idea to suppress things. It's like there's just going to be it's always going to be a little bit trickier when you just show up places. That's always going to be trickier.
Yeah, even in your personal life that happens. Like if I go into my boss's office and I'm like, I need to meet right now, versus I email her and I'm like, can you meet at 2? Like, it's just, that's the nature of organized things versus unorganized things.
Or like it's the reason why you make a reservation at a restaurant.
Yes.
You make a reservation at a restaurant because you're expecting that when I come into the restaurant, there's a place for me, right?
I think somewhere.
So if somebody's in the lobby and they're like, well, we've been here for 20 minutes. It's like, yeah, you walked up. Yes, that's how that works. Like, and that's like an analogy that I see with it.
To Steelman, the people who are worried about this freedom of speech thing, I get it. Because I think when colleges, like, if a college would shut down even someone like Richard Spencer, Nick Fuentes, I say let those guys come on campus and beat the shit out of their bad ideas with your good ideas. Like, seriously, like that to me, a college campus, I think should be that. And I would be against any college campus that would say, no, you can't do that. I would be against any college campus that would tell these people they're not allowed to be on campus. I think they should be on campus, and I disagree with them wholeheartedly. But the problem is, I think somewhere along the line, not all, but some of these people that believe in freedom of speech, they think freedom of speech means I can say whatever I want, wherever I want to, without any consequences. And if you disagree with me, you hate freedom of speech. And it's like, dude, you're just like a toddler. Like, that is literally like how a 3-year-old thinks. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, no matter how I do it. That's what a 3-year-old thinks. So if you want to think that, fine, but make sure you have a pacifier in a bottle while you're on campus.
And nobody ever told them you can't be here.
Yeah. Well,
like, the whole time, like,
yeah.
And it's the
framing. I didn't catch that. Maybe I missed something, but I didn't catch that either.
Yeah. It's the framing that Warren Smith has of like, yeah, it's only happening to them. Like, dude, I'm sure if there were people advocating for Planned Parenthood and they just walked on campus, I'm sure they'd be like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, can you come over here? Hey,
can you move to the grass? Yeah.
Yeah, like they're trying to bring some order to it. Who knows? And again, this is where you get into like all the speculation. Who knows that like maybe they're trying to give them a more optimal place to be seen by more students by going to the lawn. You know, and I don't know that that's necessarily happening.
No,
but like you just don't know, right?
Well, in my
sorry,
go ahead. Finish.
Yeah. No. That's really what I was saying.
I think too. It's my thing with Warren is just like, if you think that they are doing this to discriminate against a stereotypical right-wing pro-life perspective, show it to me.
Yes.
Show me some kind of policy. Show me an example of them letting on a left wing versus a right wing. I'm not even saying you're wrong. But what I'm saying is, if you can't show me for 30 seconds, it's going to make me question the intent of what you're trying to do with your video. Because
that's exactly it.
When you don't introduce nuance and you only talk about it in like a way that's way skewed to one side, it makes me skeptical of like, oh, you not entirely. I'll try to steel man Warren a little bit. I'm sure he has some good thoughts. But it makes me worry that he's too excessively just worried about views, and he might be audience captured.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Well, hey, before we keep going, I got to use the restroom just really quick.
I do too. So cool.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Oh. Baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark.
You are Speedy Gonzalez with it.
Well, I just refilled my water. I didn't actually use the restroom. I just used that as like a say. I was also leaving. That's what I was trying to say. For some reason, I just said I was using the restroom.
I got you. I was about to be like, "Dang, dude, that's impressive."
Yeah. I just have like a bucket beneath the table.
I install the catheter for these things.
Yeah. All right, we'll finish this up. We can just watch it for 3 minutes straight.
Yeah, let's do it.
Closing thoughts. All right.
Yeah.
to speak or convince people.
I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to make you feel bad and not make sure nobody here listens to a word you say.
It's the same pattern that continues to play out again and again. You can see it in this footage.
I think this is funny that you're judging me on the way I look.
You because you're here killing women.
I don't think that people should be judged by the way they look.
Oh, you think people should be judged by their healthcare choices, though, you dumb
No,
fuck?
I just think people should be prohibited from murdering other people.
Oh, but when God murders, you think it's okay, though, don't you?
Suddenly they feel justified in mocking your religion, your skin color, your immutable characteristics, shutting down freedom of speech. The hypocrisy is remarkable.
Sorry, he told me to back up.
I told you to go this way.
What would you like?
Go ahead and get away from her.
Why do you want to divide us? Let's have a conversation.
I'd like you to be on this side. He does. No, we hate you.
This is one example, one anecdote, but you can look at this footage and see that dynamic. He's being reasonable, regardless of how you feel about what he thinks. Meanwhile, the people around him, a growing mob, want to just force him out.
You know that these signs can cut.
Yeah.
So that's the whole reason that we've adopted the policy of wooden sticks. There's a part of that, but paper, foam, or cardboard.
You can feel the hatred. I mean, this is what is playing out on a much larger scale.
You can have this conversation without being mean.
I'm being mean. I'm the mean one.
What's that?
You're going to hell for this. You're going to hell for this, especially.
That is an interesting.
He's going to hell for this. He's already in hell.
Do you
God
believe
does
that
not
an
like him,
acorn
obviously.
is an oak tree?
You can't reason with these people.
Yes, you can.
It's not real.
You can reason.
He's just trying to have a conversation. They are trying to shut down the conversation.
Listen,
I don't care.
you have told me that you
I don't
hate
care.
me.
I do hate you. You're a piece of shit.
You have told me.
They literally tell him, I hate you.
You have told me that you hate me.
I hate you, yes.
You have told me
You're a piece of
you've
shit.
cussed me out.
You're a piece of shit,
right?
yes. Absolutely,
And
you're
you've
going
judged
to
me
hell.
by the way I look.
Yeah, you like a piece of
and
shit.
you've told me to go to hell. The same protection you have from murder, I want it applied to all people. I'm for equality. I'm against your bigotry.
I'm the bigot because I think you're a piece of shit?
Yeah, you're a total bigot.
If I'm a bigot because I hate people who are bigots, then I am a bigot.
No. And it's the same game being played out with these college bureaucrats. They're just hiding behind these fake policies that they make up on the spot.
This group. Do you have a permit to film?
They can't be set up on.
That's a campus thing, right?
Yes, campus regulation.
Yeah.
Junior, would you mind if we talk to Russ?
And they can be good or bad. We're getting into a good part of the conversation. I'd rather not be interrupted, but Junior, their actual job isn't to interrupt our conversation. So go for it, my friend.
All right, we'll just be over here if you need
Okay.
us.
Everyone watching this has probably encountered situations like this. You are going to encounter absolutely irrational people and explanations and procedures and policies. I think these guys do a good job of handling it.
Okay, so I'll stop the screen. Let me stop the screen share.
Red Robin, yum.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is, like, I want to figure out how to make this Discord thing more smoothly, because there's been a couple times now where like I'm focusing on that and not actually listening to what they're saying. So I did miss part of that, but
I get you.
I do have a lot of skepticism over like when he's like, this thing. So, okay, so first of all, I'll just get this out of the way. From what I saw, that conversation obviously did not seem fruitful. I mean, that person seemed too aggressive, but it's not like he wasn't responding in the best way either. So I'm not exactly going to say that either of them are like angels in the conversation. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
And again, obviously these things are clipped. We don't know the whole thing. We'll let out to yada yada.
Exactly.
But I have a lot of concern about how he frames this, like, and this is part of a bigger problem. Because then what that goes to is like, if I disagree, I'm just like some woke leftist R word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that kind of narrative of like, oh, now it's a bigger problem. It makes it more likely that, again, people are just going to think in these oversimplified ways of like, left, bad guy. Against abortion, bad guy. Have any kind of policy on free speech, bad guy. And it's like,
yeah,
why? Why do you have to be that way?
Yep.
So did you have any other thoughts on that?
I do. And obviously, like, again, being a pastor, being somebody who, like, I already explained why I have problems with this just in general. But like, I look at in scripture, when Jesus sends the 12 disciples out, he actually sent them out to like go do the work of ministry and kind of be an extension of him, even while he was still on earth. He said this, and in verse 11, he says, when you enter a city or village, search for a worthy person and stay in his home until you leave the town. When you enter the home, give it your blessing. If it turns out to be a worthy home, let the blessing stand. If it is not, take the blessing back. Verse 14 is where it's really interesting. He says, if any household or town refuses to welcome you or listen to your message, shake its dust from your feet as you leave. And so it's like, what he's saying is like, hey, I actually have control. The Father has control of this situation. And so don't, like, what we just saw with that interaction in that crowd does not even command. Jesus didn't even tell the 12 disciples to do that. You know what I mean? And that's, again, it goes back to this thing of like, if you really want to do this in the name of Jesus, if you really want to follow what Jesus is teaching, that's how you do it. Have the conversation. Do whatever you can. But the minute that you start being aggressive, the minute that you start trying to dial in and like rage bait each other, which is essentially what that was. It was like, I'm going to say this offensive thing. You're going to say this offensive thing. Like,
it's not
Scripture
productive.
doesn't even, again, like if you're going to be a Christian, a solid Jesus following, Bible believing Christian, the Bible doesn't even tell you to
Well,
do
dude,
this.
beyond that though, Josh, I mean, I would just say a person in general. If you want to be a productive member of society, you just don't interact like that. You don't.
And that's,
you just don't. And again, it might, like, I'll be honest, there's some times where like, if I'm trying to have a good faith conversation with someone and I can tell they're just being ridiculous, I'll probably be a little bit of a smart ass at the end. Like, but my goal is always, and that's why I say it's so important to like understand context. I have no idea how this conversation started between those two people. But
I had a big problem with that too.
But
because like you don't know.
You don't know. You don't, and I think it's way different when you have like, if they had been talking for a half hour and then it got to that point, I might view it a little differently. Now, if it was just like that right away, you know, but I don't know. Again, I guess we could go look at it, but either way, yeah, I think we're in agreement there. Again, coming from two radically different perspectives.
For sure.
But yeah, at some point we're gonna have to talk about whether Jesus thought of himself as God, because I've been learning a lot about that. Anyway, topic for another day. I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I think it's just, I'm trying to think how to say this. You get to a point in certain arguments where what I call your caveman emotions are influencing things too much, and once you get to there, it's like it's over.
Yeah.
You know, I think emotions are at the basis of basically everything, but there's a difference between like the sort of impulsive emotions and then the emotions of like, I want a very sophisticated sense of well-being for the world and myself and my community. So yeah, I'm with you.
No, it's good.
So
yeah, you've successfully converted me to be a Warren Smith rage infused
hater
commentator. Yeah.
Yeah, that's you should see his Discord. I'm on his Discord and argue with people there, and not
I love it.
Not everybody's bad, but there are some where I'm like, dude,
you
are just
you're just not being just not being serious. That's the big thing. You know what I mean? It's just you're not serious.
I'm so unserious, yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, the problem is people can vote. Not that they shouldn't be allowed to vote, but the fact that they do vote is a problem. They should be allowed to.
There was a Super Bowl commercial with Larry David, the guy who created Seinfeld, and he's like going back in time to like stop all these like bad ideas, you know, and all this stuff. And there's one clip of him in the Continental Congress, like. They're like, you know, working on the Declaration of Independence, and they're doing all this stuff.
I think I know what this is, but yeah.
All people can vote. Are you sure you want that? Like, it's funny.
Yeah,
it's funny to think about.
Yeah, well, that's an issue that's impossible to solve. That's another slippery slope thing. Like if you could wipe the slate and create a perfect world where you could have some kind of civic test that was perfect for everybody and very much made sure you knew what you were talking about, that'd be fantastic. But that is just like an absolute cesspool for discrimination. Like they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, we just want people to be smart," and it's like, that's weird. Now all the black people can't vote while this guy was in power. That's a little suspicious. I wonder how that happened. Like,
or like you have this wild sect of Christianity that is like, I think when we repeal the 19th Amendment, the world goes back to like order and dignity, and you're like,
which one is the 19th? Remind me.
The women
Oh,
suffrage.
the women. Yeah, that's so dumb.
Yeah,
That's
as a matter
so
of fact, that article I sent you about in the New York Times with the church that's actually in my area, that's the whole thing the New York Times covered, was just how this church adopts and interacts with that whole thing. It's very interesting. It's super, super interesting. So I sent that link to you so you can take a look at it. And of course, the
what
pastor.
do you mean? Sorry,
the pastor
remind me. What is it they interact with? Sorry, my brain is like fried.
The church that's here is like very big on like patriarchy, biblical patriarchy.
Oh, yeah.
And when I say biblical
I see.
patriarchy, I mean like some whacked, weird. And then the pastor's like, "This New York Times did this great article about us and all this." I'm like, "Brother, that is not a great article." But
that's I mean, I'm not an expert on this kind of thing, but I just can't help but think that anytime you are restricting the freedom of people, it's going to be worse for society. Anytime you're disempowering someone that hasn't committed a crime, it's just not going to end up good. Somebody somewhere is going to revolt. I mean, and more importantly than that, I think it's just disrespectful to the human project. You know, everybody deserves the same rights, the same powers, you know, within reason, of course. Obviously, like if you're an electrician, I don't think you should go be a plumber. You know, if you're, you know, everybody has their expertise, like, you know what I mean? But
yeah, absolutely.
And things are earned and, you know, meritocracy, all that. But at the base of it, there should be no like discrimination, of course.
Yeah, I agree.
But
oh man, did you have anything else?
No, just real quickly. I just very quickly. I saw the you haven't happened to come across this, have you? The Hassan Piker New York Times interview. Maybe we can dive more into this when we both watch it. But I saw a little preview, and they were talking about like you know, like piracy, and there were, I think one girl said that she like when she got food from Whole Foods and then forgot she got limes, so she just went back in and like stole the limes because she thought it was like, and she didn't feel bad about it or something, yada yada yada. But I just think there's like a huge moral inconsistency that can be shown, because so here's what I mean. There's often an idea, especially about like pro-labor people, of which I am pro-labor, where you would say something like, I would imagine you would say something like, well, if you look at a company like Amazon, Disney, Kroger, or whatever it might be, these are companies who are primarily made up of small town workers, or like the small, like the everyday man, right? And you can use that as an argument for like unions of like Kroger is the everyday middle class guy. It's 80% of the workforce or whatever. You know what I mean? Or Kroger is or Amazon is the middle class. 90% of their workers are in the factories, whatever. Yeah. But then, like, if you're going to say that, you then can't turn around and say, it's okay that I stole from Whole Foods because it's Jeff Bezos. Because you just told me that 80% of Amazon is... So that's who you're really stealing from. Yeah. So if you want to do that, that's fine. Or not that's fine. If you want to do that, that's what you have to defend. Because you're not really defending against stealing Jeff Bezos. You're defending against stealing against the masses of most people who are middle class.
Yep.
So, and that's why I say the same thing like with like pirating movies, and obviously there's more nuance to this with, you know, the streaming that we've talked about a million times. Yeah. But in general, like if you're going to say something, oh, I don't mind to steal from Disney, it's just they're a $1 billion company. It's like, well, Disney is not just like this like placard that has $1 billion under it that the one CEO owns. Like it's like made up of tons, I would imagine, of like filmmakers, people working at the parks, people doing this. You know, like
most of their revenue comes from the parks. Like that's how they fund the entire thing, is like their theme park stuff. And so when you look at the theme parks and everything, it's basically, everyday workers who are, picking up trash or manning, a ride or whatever. Like that's where like I think it's something ridiculous like 60 to 80% of their income comes through those like tickets and hotel stays and packages and stuff that they do. Like very rarely are they making money off of big projects and stuff like that, movies or TV shows or whatever. Most of it's just, which is, again, it goes back to what you were saying, which I've never actually, I've made that connection, but never really thought about it a ton. And it is a very interesting perspective to reorient us from like being against billionaires versus actually being against the people that it's really affecting. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference in that. And yeah, that's really, really interesting. Yeah. So did that interview like come out, or is it about to?
No, it's like I think if you go on if you go on New York Times, you might not be able to find it. It might be paywall, but for some reason, I think if you Google it, it'll just pop up and then you can access it on the New York Times. I don't know how that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that there's like an inconsistency there. So
yeah. I don't know if I told you this, but I remember last time we talked about clavicular and
the alligator thing.
Dude,
Sorry.
I was
sorry, hang on. Well, let's just watch it together. We'll watch it together. Hang on. That's only a minute and 34. Hang on,
great,
sorry.
But what I was saying.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. You're good. What I was saying was like I finally was able to dig more into it and to form more of an opinion, and so. I watched his Channel 5 interview. The guy who runs Channel 5 on YouTube is a phenomenal interviewer. Like one of the best people to just sit and like pressed but not know. Like he's phenomenal. I forget his name, but
Andrew. I think it's like Andrew Callahan.
Yeah.
Like that.
Just phenomenal, dude. Like I watched his Shia LaBeouf interview. I watched the clavicular. Just very interesting. He's become somebody that like I want to watch most of the interviews that he drops just because they're fascinating, and his ability to like pull information out, stay calm and patient and all that stuff. And the clavicular interview especially was very very telling just of who this guy is. You know what I mean? Like I thought, which is ultimately why you do those long form things anyway.
Have you seen him on Adam Freeland?
No.
Maybe watch that one. Yeah, I only saw the end of the Callahan one, where he's like,
when he storms,
where he's like, so you really don't think there's anything in the mirror you'd like to improve?
Oh yeah,
and it's like, you know what's funny about that?
In him. Yeah.
What's interesting is I have a little bit of empathy for like what clavicular is selling, in the sense that like looks are important, and there's no doubt like that they're important. We don't have to pretend they're not important. We also don't have to pretend that like, I also understand why he would be skeptical of like, really, like you're completely satisfied with yourself. But I also don't think that even if Andrew would have said like, there's some things that I could improve, but I'm overall happy with myself, I still think clavicular. I still wonder if clavicular would have been like, really? But
yeah, which is where the whole conflict came, because Andrew was like, yeah, no, I by and large, most days, I feel pretty good about myself. And I think that fundamentally is like the problem with clavicular, is everything is done out of such insecurity. You can so tell that like the whole framing, the whole ideology of, looks maxing and all that stuff, it comes from deep insecurities. And so the fact that Andrew was like, yeah, by and large, I can look in the mirror and like be happy with what I see, that I think was what actually triggered that, as opposed to like him not thinking that was a real answer. I think it was more of just like seeing somebody be confident in themselves was like a thing that just sent him. And then they ended up cutting the interview short. You know what I mean? Like, so,
yeah,
wild. But what was this alligator? What is this?
Yeah, let's.
I didn't see anything, but yeah.
It's
what?
All right, you ready for this?
I just saw the what?
You ready for this? Okay.
Okay.
Let me mute myself.
He's the face of the so-called looks-maxing community. A movement of young men who take extreme measures to improve their appearance. But now, Braden Eric Peters, who goes by the name Clavicular, faces criminal charges for firing a gun at an alligator while live streaming. Peters and 2 other influencers were streaming a boat ride through the Everglades in March when they came across the alligator. In the video, the 3 are seen unloading multiple shots and are now charged with a misdemeanor for unlawfully discharging a firearm in public. It's unclear if the alligator was alive at the time of the shooting. His attorney says Peters was following the instructions of a licensed airboat guide, adding no animals or people were harmed. It's just the latest controversy for the 20-year-old. He was arrested in March after being accused of instigating a fight between his girlfriend and a 19-year-old woman. Authorities claiming he posted the fight on social media to exploit the 2 women. Beyond his legal issues, Peters has faced criticism for the extremes he takes to improve his looks, including hitting himself in the face to improve his jawline.
If I punch myself in the face, I'm gonna get like a nice mewed-up jaw.
Yeah, bone smashing's legit.
He admitted to using multiple medications to enhance his looks, even claiming to have taken meth to lose weight. He was hospitalized last month after emergency crews responded to a suspected overdose during his live stream. Peters is due in court in Florida later this month and could face jail time.
Spring.
Wild. I hadn't watched that before. I just thought it was right on cue. So,
you know, like, I remember him saying, I think you referenced it the last time we were talking, like, why wouldn't you live stream everything? Like, I'm kind of taken at the fact of, like, it was like 3 or 4 times in that video. They were like, yeah, this was found on his live stream. Yeah, this was found on his live stream. Yeah, this was done on his live.
Yeah, that's a pretty good reason not to live stream everything.
Brother, why are you gotta understand that, like, this is not good for you. It's not ending up well for you. You keep live streaming things that put you in handcuffs or in hospitals, or, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I don't know, man. It's ultimately, it's really, like, that's my ultimate thing with Clavicular is, like, it's so sad. It is super sad. Like, I hope this dude gets help. And when I say help, I don't necessarily mean like super professional, like, if that's not the route he wants to go. I just hope this dude can get people that actually care about him and not just are after clout. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because he can easily be one of those kind of C or D list celebrities that other people use to, like, get into something. Like, 20 years old and you got all of this stuff already. Like, dude, I hope he gets some people that can really help him. Because, like, I think he really needs it, genuinely.
Sometimes I wonder if the women, you know, that he's on stream with are really just not. I mean, some of them, I don't know, not just the women, but I know, like, I notice a lot of streams where he has like a lot of women around, and sometimes I'm wondering if they're doing it, like, for the fame, you know. And then I think the negative side of that too is, like, and I think Destiny may have pointed this out, something similar, of, like, those people who are always like, oh, like, women are trash, women are this, women are that, all they care about is looks. It's like, well, that's all you're hanging out with. You're hanging out with, like, the 1% of, like, go hang out with some different women somewhere else. Like, most women aren't like that. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's true.
So,
yeah,
a lot of people, I think it's easy to make a mistake of, like, the people that you hang out with, that's the world. And it's not. It's not the world.
Yep. It's true.
So,
hey, I wanted to. I had the Russell Brand thing. That, I don't know if you saw it. Have you seen it?
The only thing I've seen is him flipping through Bible pages. Like,
okay, yeah, that's the thing that's what I was. So you saw that, because I did a video on it, I recorded a video on it. Needs to go live today, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you have thoughts of him being. Do you think he's like a fake Christian?
I don't know. And I said this in the video. Like I said, it should go live either today or Monday or something like that. But, like, I don't know. And like, I don't speculate. I think here's my perspective as somebody, you know, obviously deep rooted in faith, pastor, all this stuff. I think we got to stop platforming brand new Christians, because if he is legit, which again I don't know and I really don't want to speculate on, just because I don't know people's journeys and their faith and things.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah, of course, and I just have learned not to do that, because people can fake things all the time. But like, if it's legit, we have done him a disservice as Christians by platforming him so quickly, because he clearly doesn't know scripture. Like, from just a plain watch of that interview and that segment in particular, like, he's talking about one of the most trying things somebody could go through, right? Like going through a criminal trial, bringing a Bible, all this stuff. And when Piers asks him, like, hey, what's the verse you used? Like, you should be able to go to that, right?
Automatic,
like, it should be fairly, even if you don't have the actual scripture reference, like with what I did with this verse in Matthew earlier. Like, I didn't know necessarily where it was. I knew it was in Matthew, and I couldn't really, you know what I mean? Like, but I was able to pull it up and have it ready and do that. And like, he clearly had nothing there. And like, that's where my thing is like, clearly there's a lack there in terms of the strength of his faith, and like, maybe we're just platforming people way too early in their journey and in their, we call it discipleship, like being a disciple of Jesus, right? Like being in their faith journey. Like, maybe he's just too early on to be on these kind of platforms. Obviously he's got a book, and that's a whole other thing too, of like, you're writing a book about how to be a Christian in 7 days, and like, if that's the kind of Christian you are, that should not be replicated, right? We don't want our Christians to not know Bible. And so like, that's my whole like take and perspective on it.
Do you think there's a world though where maybe he got captured by like Jesus and the story of Jesus, and then the actual like discovery of the facts of the Bible come later? I don't think that's I don't necessarily think that's a good way to build a belief system, but
well, and that's kind of what I'm saying is like, you should be able to articulate more than just these surface level-y things. And it's a bad look. You're giving so much ammunition to people to speculate on, are you a Christian? Are you just grifting? I know Piers called him a grifter, like, to his face in that interview earlier. He's like, I think you're grifting. I think you know, you're trying to commandeer faith for, you know, whatever. And I don't have an opinion necessarily on that, but my thing is like, if he's legit, if he's really walking this thing out, then like, yeah, man, you just gotta, there has to be more work behind the scenes before that stuff is on display. Because that's not what we want replicated, right? Like that's the way I see it. That's the perspective I have of it.
I do think that's how most people come to it, though. Like, I think if you look at the base of why people believe, it's because of the feeling of it more so than the actual facts of the...
But that's what I'm saying is like, I'm saying there's a place and a time to process those things and to learn more, and going directly to like, I'm going to platform this stuff. I mean, we talked about it with Jaden Ivey last time and him getting fired. Like, the dude was actively like processing his faith on Instagram Live, because it's not the place to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you should have people that you trust, or people that can help you or whatever, to be able to.
I thought he was pretty sure about his beliefs though. Like, in terms of what the Bible said.
Yeah, but as far as like the processing of what he was processing on Instagram, like, that should have been done with people that you trust, or with pastors, or you know what I mean? Like,
you're saying the similarity is that they should have both done more behind the scenes work before speaking about it.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So, but that's kind of my perspective on it. But I was interested because obviously with you and where you're at, like, you know, how you perceived that, or how you perceive this whole kind of Russell Brand situation was what I was kind of interested in. That's why I brought it up.
I mean, honestly, it seems like a lot to dive into, and
yeah,
I'm not that interested in celebrity anyway. It's just not something I get into.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting because I do think that I feel like there are different types of believers, where like I'm going to way oversimplify things. I'm not saying it's just these two categories, but I think there's a couple categories that you can like put people into. Again, oversimplifying. One of them is like, I feel this feeling of Jesus, of Christianity, of God, or whatever, and that's good enough. And they don't really care what the Bible says. They don't really care if you could historically, or maybe not saying that maybe they don't care, but they, even if you could, I guess this would be not caring, even if you did prove to them that historically the resurrection doesn't make sense, even if you could prove to them historically that, you know, whatever you might, whatever you think of it, there are certain people that are just like, I don't care about that. I feel Jesus, I feel God, and that's what matters. And then there's some people who, like, I would categorize you in the second category, where they have that, but they're also interested in like, okay, how can we prove this rationally in the, like, on earth right now? Like, how can I take these feelings and have them supported by history, basically? So, I mean, that's not exactly addressing Russell Brand, but it's similar, because I do. It's just like an interesting dynamic, and I think there are, you know, there I would guess. I say guess because I don't know enough about the specifics of the Bible, although I am learning about it more in terms of like the historicity of it. Yeah, I would guess there are some people who think they know about the history of it, but they don't really. At the end of the day, they're just trying to like, you know, satisfy that impulsive feeling they have, or not impulsive, but satisfy that's the wrong word. Satisfy that feeling they have of being close to Jesus, close to God, or whatever. And they'll just never admit any kind of contradiction in the Bible, any kind of thing that seems off, anything like that. So I guess that's kind of like a third category of people who want to be historical, but they don't actually ever admit when they're wrong or that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So
no, I get that.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as Russell Brand, part of me just like, part of me just doesn't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like just on a personal level, like obviously, like if you know, if he did like really bad things to people, obviously that's bad. That's not what I mean by I don't care. I just mean like there are certain things that catch me in the news and certain things that don't. And those kind of headlines just don't usually catch me. So
yeah, for sure. No, I get that.
I get cool. I get more caught up in, regardless of who's doing the debate, more so like academic content than that kind of stuff. Not always. I mean, there are some. For me, it's more about the topic than the person. I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No,
so if that comes in the form of Russell Brand or just some like random scholar that no one's heard of, I'm more interested in the. You know what I mean, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah.
I need a cat, dude. I need a cat cam in here. That'd be so much fun.
That's so cool.
I've been stressing about this cat all week, man. It's been such a shitty week. I think Sunday night I got like 4 hours of sleep, which is like, you have a kid, so you're like, whatever, shut up. But for me, I don't have a kid.
She sleeps through the night.
I know, I'm just kidding. But we don't know for sure, but we think he swallowed a rubber band, which can be like pretty dangerous. And I've always been like really guilt driven, and it was basically my fault that he ate it because I didn't like feed it to him, but I left it out and I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even gone that long, but I'm super guilt driven, so like I have been having trouble sleeping. I've been really meticulous about like checking their litter boxes and stuff like that, and I have a very hard time letting go of the uncertainty in these kind of situations, and I just want to like know so I can be relieved of the guilt. So.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. We had a thing where I was walking my dogs and one of them got off leash and he was trying to play with this other dog, but the other dog was older, and so like then he ended up biting, and there were a couple puncture wounds. The dude was really, really sweet about it. He's like, "Hey, I can tell you're a good owner. You know, you were able to grab him and control him. It just happened. You know, like those things just happen." And
that's scary though.
It was, dude. I mean, same thing as far as like the guilt thing is like very real. And like, you know, you just keep replaying that scenario of like, dude, that was my fault, like, you know. And he's like, dude, it's fine. And he ended up sending us the bill. and we paid, like we're not like crappy people, so like we took care of it and everything.
Decent thing to do.
It's actually really cool, like, just the conversations we had. And I'm finding that like a lot of my day-to-day interactions end with church invites, and it's not even because I'm like out there trying to like convert everybody, but like people here and they're like, what's a natural thing when you're getting to know somebody? It's like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a pastor in town. And that ends up like, oh, I need to get back to church, or I need to look at a church or whatever. So it's really interesting how that works out. Like, it seems like most of my interactions like that. I'm huge on like buying Facebook Marketplace. I love buying stuff and getting deals. Instead of thrifting, I go to Marketplace. It's kind of a similar thing.
Sure.
And like
Digital thrifting.
I bought a pair,
Digital thrifting.
Yeah. And I bought like a pair of Nike Air Maxes. I'm a little bit of a sneakerhead, but like I'll pay for like $30 of like a nice one so that I can wear them. I'm not like displaying them or anything.
Yeah.
And I found a nice pair of Air Maxes, and it's the same thing where like I go in and meet this guy and he wants to meet at a church, and I was like, oh, it's cool that you want to meet at a church. I'm a pastor, blah blah blah. And he's like, man, I need to get back into church. Or I need to. It's really interesting how that stuff happens. Oh, I say all that to say, like, I'm with you with some of the animal, like, you're just like, dude, I hate. And then of course my dog's like, he's a doodle, and so like he's very friendly and loyal, and it's like he's looking up at me like, what did I do? Like, what are you talking? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So
No, they don't get it. Yeah, that's scary though, because isn't it like, can't you get dogs put down for stuff like that?
I mean, if people wanted to, like, if people wanted to pursue it, I mean, that's why it was so freaky. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you never know who the owner is. Yeah.
No, and luckily, like with some of our, we've had not like that, but like we've had other things where just dogs get squirrely or wily or whatever, and it's not like they're not trained or disciplined. We have collars, we have
like, you want the whole,
all the stuff. But even then, you're like, dude, I'm a crappy owner. Like, I'm just a terrible owner. You know what I mean?
Well,
like, that's what it feels like, But luckily, we've had really good people to work with, and they've been really gracious towards us and really sweet, and yeah. But it's definitely sucky for sure.
The thing that comes up for me too with it, and I was actually kind of open about this on one of my streams last week. I can't remember if I streamed once or twice last weekend. But I have a history of what I would call obsessive compulsive tendencies. I don't like to use the word disorder because it's very confusing to me to understand where my brain, where that side of like, I think I'm more analytical than most people, and I think that's good, but that can go into like being too thorough to the point that it's unhealthy. And so the reason I don't call it a disorder is because I think it could have some positive and negative effects, and it's kind of complicated and whatever. But the reason I bring that up is because I have to be careful, because what'll happen is I'll get guilty about something, and then I'll want to clean the same thing like 7 times, because it's like, it's just this like, I heard it described, I think on a TED Talk or something one time, where it's like when you, this might be a little off, but it was something like with people that have these tendencies, for most people, they have like a task that says like, I need to get this done, right? And it's like a wall, and it'll come across and it'll like knock down the wall. But for some reason, with like people with OCT, obsessive compulsive tendencies, or other people might call OCD, like it's like you knock it down and then it just loops back, and then you knock it down, it doesn't go away. And so I have to be careful with that, like with this kind of stuff, because the guilt will lead to those tendencies. You know what I mean? That actually happened to me. I don't know if you knew this. I may not have told you this before, but I had like a year where I was like a severe germaphobe. Like it was like you probably could have turned me into, if it got much worse, you probably could have turned me into like a hospitalization, like a brief week-long inpatient hospitalization. Because what had happened was, the original reason I was bringing this up is because basically at that time, and we can get into this another time, but at that time, something really, really severe had happened in my life, involving my family, and it really stressed me out. And I think Jordan Peterson has this line where he said something like, everybody has some specific way that they fall apart when life gets horrible. And my like way of falling apart was like the tendencies of being obsessive compulsive completely took over. Like completely took over. Yeah. And it was bad. Like I was working like 1 day a week. I would go like days without using the restroom even when I had to. And it was like it was bad. Like I was dirty. Like it was just bad. But what's interesting about that is the reason that I wanted to do that actually had to do in a really funky way. It had to do with morality, because when I had that big thing happen, I remember in my head saying like, okay, I need to get back to who I am at my core self, of like trying to do the right things. And for some reason, my brain took do the right things to like make sure people don't get sick, and then it latched onto germs. And so for like I would do just like the most random weird shit where like I remember I walked probably like 3 miles in like 92-degree weather to a therapy session in like jeans with nothing else underneath. Like just really random shit where like I was very clearly mentally ill. And it's solved now. It's not nearly like that, but there's like a little piece of that where like I know when shit gets stressed, I'll do something like, again, it's not severe, but it's like, you know, when somebody would clean something twice, I might clean it 4 times.
Yeah.
It just doesn't wear off. So that's kind of being a little vulnerable with that. Just like a little personal note on how the guilt of me can really go awry if I'm not careful. And it actually comes up sometimes when I'm doing video, like watching videos, because I think like I have to have this balance of like, okay, I genuinely didn't hear that and I might be missing information. And like, am I just rewinding 20 times because I feel like I need to? Plus, am I just not paying attention? Because I might need to rewind 20 times if I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, it's really died down. But my brain will just go insane with guilt if I will never get that way again. But there are some things where when I do feel guilty about stuff, if I'm not careful, I've had to work about like not going too far with it, is what I'm trying to say. And I think I'm doing fine now. I'm not doing that stuff now. It's fine. You know, we're just working through it. But
and that's the point, is like being able to recognize those tendencies and recognize when they flare, and we're recognizing like, oh, I can feel this being dysregulated or whatever. Like that's been, even with me, like trying to figure that stuff out, you know. I can get frustrated and angry very easily, like just so frustrated by something and I think that is a little bit of like hyperfixation for me, that like I just have such an expectation that like when it doesn't happen exactly the way that I kind of planned it, I've really had to like work at like slowing down and being like, all right, like let me see where this is actually at, you know what I mean, as opposed to like just losing it because it's not exactly the way that I thought it would be, you know, when I planned it or when I saw it or whatever. So
yeah, definitely. I'm sure I would imagine a child is helping you with being able to adjust to expectations that don't happen.
Dude, yeah, for real. Like it's crazy. And I don't know if I told you this, like we've talked about it, so it's like public, but like we have another one on the way, which is really exciting.
Didn't know that. You didn't tell me.
So sorry. I didn't.
Well,
we're
congrats.
in a weird phase. Yeah, we're in a weird phase where like we haven't posted to social media, but we've like told people, but like not everybody knows because we haven't told everybody in the settings. Like there's people at a church that are like, "Is Macy?" I'm like, "Yep." You know, it's really funny. So I told Macy, I said, I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna wait until we have the baby and then post it on social media and be like,
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
But yeah, so it's like.
Do you
but
know
anyway,
the...
I say.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, do you know the sex yet, or do you not want to share that? It's okay if you don't.
We haven't shared. Yeah, I could text you offline, but
yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure. But like, anyway, it's just really funny because, it's like one of the biggest things to like help me with like, okay, like, and that comes from like, right now she's 2. So like we don't have like childcare, and both of our jobs are flexible enough that like she can come with us in everywhere we go. But a lot of stuff we do at home, and like those days where like I have her, it's very easy for me to get frustrated because like I just can't be as efficient as I want to be.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, instead of getting 7 or 8 things done today, I'm gonna get 4 that are really important, and then when she goes to bed, then I can do more. Like I've learned how to like do all of that with with having her and you know this new one that's coming and all that. Like it's just been really helpful. And Macy's even said like, man, like I can really tell because like that takes a lot of work for me to adjust those things.
Yeah. No,
when
that's
I traveled with her by myself for the first time over Thanksgiving. I went early. I had a bunch of vacation time left over, and so I went to my hometown early.
Yeah.
And took my daughter, and Macy was like, "Hey, traveling with a baby is going to be different." And like just even that acknowledgement was able to like not lower my expectations, but just shift them in a way that was like, I'm game for whatever. You know, and
sure,
my daughter ended up spending most of the flight with some random college kid that was traveling from Phoenix to Nashville, where we fly into, and like played on her phone the whole time. And I was like so apologetic. Going back to the guilt stuff, like, I'm like, dude, you don't have to do this. Oh, I love it. You know, I babysit, I nanny, I do all this stuff. But like, so she spent but again, it was that shift in expectation of like, I'm just going to, whatever happens. Like,
yeah, no, I hear you. I feel like I have to be, I feel a lot of not like I don't know if guilt's the right word, but do you ever have like performance guilt? Like, cause I have that where like, if I don't like stream, like if it's like Friday at like 11 or 1 and I haven't started my stream yet, I have a really tough time with saying like, I can save this, because my initial feeling is like, oh, weekend's over. And it's like Friday at 1. It's like, dude, you have like 20 hours still that you could stream if you really wanted to. But for some reason in my head, it's like, you got to do it. But it's so in a way, it's interesting because it helps because it makes me become more disciplined because I know I'll feel that way. But also there is a side of it that's like, I can't feel this way all the time. Like,
yeah,
I got to be a little flexible.
Yeah, you just can't let it control it, right? Yeah, that's yesterday I was in a meeting down in Phoenix all day, and then drove back, and then it was the National Day of Prayer yesterday, so there was something at the courthouse. It was a really cool gathering of a bunch of churches and stuff, and like, so it was a busy day. Well, normally my upload schedule is like Monday, Thursday, Friday, and then I kind of fill in with shorts and stuff on the other days. And so I missed an upload yesterday, and it was like, you know. So then I'm like, do I even upload today? I'm like, well, yeah, it's 10:30 in the morning. Like,
yeah, like relax, dude. It's not that serious. Yeah. That you know, that happens. Yeah. That happens with people. I feel like with workout schedules too. It's like they miss one day, and it's like, I mean, it's bad that you missed the day, but it's like it's even worse if you miss tomorrow. Like,
yeah, it's true. But that's good. But yeah, dude. Well, I'll hop off because I know I was a little bit later to get started, so that way you can have the rest of your time, unless there was something else you had or wanted to talk about. I got
not particularly. I think we learned some new. I think we learned some new things about each other today, which is always nice.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. I've really been enjoying doing this every month. Like it's been really cool to be able to do this every month. So.
Yeah, we really need to have guests. I mean, like I like it, but I think having guests would really make it even more spectacular.
Definitely.
So, but
yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'll hop off. I haven't had lunch yet. The only thing I've had today is oatmeal and syrup.
There you go.
But cool. Well, yeah. Let me know next month if you have a particular date, particular topics, anything like that.
Yeah.
And then keep in touch too if you want to do anything as far as like with your church group or other people coming on or anything like that.
Yeah. I've got some ideas, and I have been talking to some people. So maybe next month I can maybe lock in somebody to come and be a part. So that'd be kind of cool.
No rush. I mean, I should work on having people too. So no rush at all.
Yeah, for sure.
But
awesome, dude. Well, thanks for doing this with me, and it's like I said, I really enjoy being able to talk about these things, and I think we both offer each other different perspectives that we normally don't get, and so it's always really helpful for me, just in walking away and thinking about things, and so I really do appreciate it, and yeah, it's really cool.
I mean, speak for yourself. I feel like I know everything already, but so I don't really gain much from. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're right. I totally appreciate it too. But
for sure.
all right, man. I'll see you.
Yep. Later.
All right. I'm still here, guys. Hang on.